Hello students, on this video I'm going to show you how to solve problem 4 or question 4 from Handout 2B on Algebra 2, or the second part of Algebra. So it looks like we have multiplication of a monomial times a polynomial, and more specifically that's a trinomial. Okay, so what this means is that we have to do distributive property or multiply 3 times, right? We multiply the factor that's outside the parentheses times the first term inside, and then we're going to do the same thing times the second term inside, and then times the third term inside the parentheses. Okay, so it looks like a 1 times 3, right? One term outside times 3 terms inside. So at the end, before combining like terms, if any, I should have 3 terms. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the multiplication. So the first multiplication that's going to be negative 10x to the power of n times the first term, negative 12x to the power of 2n. And then the second multiplication, that's going to be negative 10x to the power of n times positive 4x to the power of n as the second one, and the third one, the one in red, same negative 10x to the power of n times 1/5 x. Okay, so those are going to be the multiplications, and of course I have to, add all of those results. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. So monomial times monomial means I have to multiply the numbers. So negative 10 times negative 12. So 10 times 12, that's going to be 120. And negative times negative, that's going to be a positive sign. Now, when you're multiplying the letters or the variables, remember that multiplication of variables results in addition of exponents, right? So x to the power of n times x, the result is going to be x, but I have to add up those two exponents. So n plus 2n, that's going to be the first result. Okay, let's see what the second term results into. So the same, we're going to multiply negative 10 times positive 4. So negative 10 times positive 4, that's going to be negative 40. And then x to the power of n times x to the power of n, those are two x's. It means I have to, the result is going to be x, and I have to add up those two exponents. So n plus n, whatever those two exponents are. Okay, and then the last part of the result, of course, I have to add the next one also. It's going to be negative 10 times 1/5. So that's going to result into negative 10 times 1/5. Let's go ahead and carry this over here. Negative 10 times 1/5. That's a multiplication, right? So let's go ahead and convert the first one into a fraction and multiply tops and multiply bottoms. Okay, so negative 10 times 1, that's negative 10 divided by 5. Right? And if we do that operation, negative 10 divided by 5, we can simplify it even further into negative 2. Okay, so negative 10 times 1/5, that's going to be negative 2. Then we do the same thing for the variables, right? So we have x to the power of n, excuse me, over here, right? X to the power of n times x. So what is going to be the exponent on this x over here? If it doesn't have exponent, then the exponent is going to be 1. Okay, so same thing, the result is x, and I have to add up those two exponents, n plus 1. And that's going to be the result. Okay, so let me simplify this into just one color and add those exponents already. That's going to be 120x to the power of n plus 2n. That's going to be 3n. I want n plus 2n, that's 3n. And then over here I have a plus and a minus, so I'm going to convert that into a minus 40, and then I'm going to add up those two exponents. So n plus n looks like 2n. Okay, and then I have a plus and a minus. Becomes a minus 2x to the power of, and then I have to add those two exponents. So since n is a variable, n plus 1, there's nothing else I can do to simplify that, right? If you make that 2n, that's not going to be the same, right? If you make that 2, that's not going to be the same. So be careful, since that's one of those is a variable and the other one's a number, you just leave them as n plus 1 minus 2x to the power of n plus 1. And since none of these exponents or the degrees of those variables are the same, it means I cannot combine like terms. So this should be my final answer, or the answer that I'm looking for. Okay, so Make sure to let me know if you have any other questions, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.